February 5th, 2020, Nike unveils the Air Zoom Mercurial, a football boot that featured an all-new FlyPrint upper and what Nike was touting as a revolutionary implementation of their Air Zoom technology that was going to increase energy return underneath your foot more so than any other football boot we had ever seen before. 1 year and one pandemic later, it's still not here. Which begs the question, what happened? And if you're completely unfamiliar with the boots that I'm talking about here, you can check out my original video that I made a year ago discussing all of the technical information that Nike shared, as well as some reading between the lines to give you a better idea of really the groundbreaking potential of the Air Zoom Mercurial. Little pop-up on screen, go and check it out. Now, I've been getting asked about the Air Zoom Mercurials a lot over the last year, and I've refrained from commenting mainly because I wanted to wait until the release of the next-gen Mercurial, which is now here in the form of the Vapor 14 and Superfly 8. Reason being is a lot of the stuff that we saw unveiled in what was effectively a concept boot in the Air Zoom Mercurial looked a lot like the next-gen Mercurial prototypes that we now know is a vapor posit upper and a sole plate that is more or less the same as the previous generation. No Air Zoom tech whatsoever. I thought there was a possibility that the Air Zoom Mercurial was going to be this concept boot that kind of gave us a teaser of some of the tech that would be featured in the next gen Mercurial. However, none of the tech from the Air Zoom Mercurial is featured in the next gen Mercurial. So what happened then? And I think you have to consider the timing of when these were unveiled and what Nike had planned probably, because we don't know this for sure. February 5th, we were aware of the existence of COVID-19, but nobody really knew that 1 month later it would become a global issue and is still a pretty significant issue to this day. So I think a lot of the launch plans that Nike probably had for the Air Zoom Mercurial were focused around the 2020 Olympics as well as Euro 2020, both of which did not end up happening and of course have been moved to 2021. So if I were a betting man, I would guess that the Air Zoom Mercurial, if it's still going to happen, likely will be coming out sometime around the summer of 2021, likely in limited quantities. Although it must be said that many of the other products unveiled at the same Nike Innovation Summit did end up releasing in 2020 as they were supposed to. The Air Zoom Mercurial was never given an official release date, so it is still a little bit strange that we've heard nothing about them since, but I still think it's something that is new enough, especially now that we know what the current generation Mercurial is and likely will be for the next year until we get something to replace it. Everything about the Air Zoom Mercurial is still new, even if they decide to release it 6 months from now. So did this whole global pandemic thing have an impact on the release of the Air Zoom Mercurial? I think that's entirely possible and highly likely, but at the same time, I think what we're ultimately going to see and what could have possibly been the plan from the get-go from Nike is something very similar to what we saw with the Flyknit Ultra, for those that remember those. They came out in limited quantities. We did end up getting multiple colorways as well because they were extremely popular, and effectively what the Flyknit Ultra was kind of a teaser for what the Mercurial line would eventually evolve into, which is a full Flyknit upper on both the Vapor and Superfly, which we would see in the next generation Mercurial of Vapor 12 and Superfly 6. I think it's possible that the Zoom Air technology, which Nike is really hyping up and has kind of made waves with in the running shoe world, having certain variants of their Zoom Air technology basically being banned by official running leagues or organizations. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but it is really interesting that it could potentially be that groundbreaking. And then when you combine that with this brand new FlyPrint upper, which while similar looking to the Vapor Posit that they just introduced, I'm assuming it's going to be something completely different once again. And this Air Zoom Mercurial could again be that teaser boot for what the Vapor 15 and Superfly 9 could eventually end up being. And I'll make another bold prediction here. Based on the pricing of these super hyped up Air Zoom running shoes, which are extremely expensive if you haven't noticed, I wouldn't be surprised if the Air Zoom Mercurial, when and if it does release in limited quantities, could see the return of a $400 retail price. Last time we saw that was the Mercurial Superfly 2. Let's hope that's not the case, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised. So is the Air Zoom Mercurial canceled? It very well could be, but I don't see that being the case based on Nike clearly dumping a significant amount of resources into developing something that is so new in the football boot industry. And you have to consider that they didn't necessarily show us a final product. We only really got one angle, and and then some other kind of teaser angles in different colorway variants on some dummies that they obviously did on purpose. But you could only see so much of the boot, and there's really no pictures of the bottom, which is where all of the significant tech, I would say, is featured. So either they don't want us to see something, or they're not ready to actually show us. So now that they've had a year of development time for this Air Zoom Mercurial, I don't see them scrapping it entirely. I think this boot will see the light of day at some point in time. It's just a matter of when that will be, and if I were guessing, I think it's gonna be mid-2021. Anyways, guys, that's it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them down below in the comment section. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.